The graph shows some of these changes, and this is how a tadpole is changing into an adult frog. The contribution to the gas exchange of the lungs, gills, and skin changes as a tadpole develops into a frog. Explain the importance of these changes. We have to refer to the graph again, and as you can see, the percentage of oxygen uptake from different gas exchange surfaces is changing throughout the life, where the young adult is completely disappearing the gills and the early tadpole is too much dependent on the gills. But most prominently, it is exchanging the gases through the skin. So we can write, during the tadpole stage, the organism is completely depending on dissolved oxygen of water in which is taken up using the skin and gills. Due to high surface area to volume ratio, you can use the skin. The tadpole can use the skin. The gills cannot exchange oxygen when frog lives in terrestrial environment. That means the adult frog. Therefore, gills are gradually disappearing because they are not anymore needed. But lungs gradually get developed into the most dominant gas exchange site because it is living on the terrestrial environment when it becomes a complete adult frog. And lungs, we know it is the best adapted structure for the terrestrial environment. Skin continues to be an alternative gas exchange surface because it is adapted to live in aquatic environment also throughout the life. As we know, the frog is an amphibian. So because of the small size of the organism, skin still serves as a very good gas exchange surface. It allows the organism to be in the aquatic habitats also. Part B, the diagram shows the structure of a heart of a frog. Give one similarity and one difference between the structure of this heart and a mammalian heart. As a similarity, we can say they are also having two atria. Mammalian heart and the amphibian heart both have two atria. So because of two atria, you can write they have atrioventricular valves. The difference is mammalian heart is having two ventricles, whereas this one is having only one ventricle. The diagram shows the distribution of blood flowing through the circulatory system of a frog. The percentage of blood flowing through the parts of circulatory system are shown on the system. You can see the lungs as a gas exchange system, skin as a gas exchange system, and the proportions of blood reaching skin and lungs 17 and 39. A majority of blood is reaching the lungs for oxidation, and 44% of total blood is getting into the cells, but 56, a majority is getting into the skin and lungs, and blood from lungs is getting straight away oxygenate after oxygenation, getting straight away into the right atrium, and from the right side of the heart it gets into the ventricle and get into the blood vessel which is supplying for the body cells. The blood from skin and cells deoxygenated from the cells and oxygenated from the skin, a 61% is going into the left atrium, and that blood is the majority of that blood is getting pumped into the lungs and skin for the oxidation oxygenation. The cells of the frog need oxygen to survive. Explain how the circulatory system and the gas exchange surfaces of an adult frog are able to meet this need of oxygen. Use the information in the diagram to support your answer. You can refer to the earlier diagram also, the graph, and we can first comment on the gas exchange surfaces. Both lungs and skin have adapted as gas exchange surfaces. Therefore, surface area is increased to allow more efficient gas exchange in the skin. Lungs, already we know it is the adapted structure for the terrestrial environment. More blood is getting into the gas exchange surfaces compared to body cells. You can see 56% of the blood is getting into the gas exchange surfaces. If you refer to that diagram in about heart and the circulatory system, and 44% is reaching the cells. And out of that, a higher proportion is going into the lungs than the skin. 39% of blood is going into the lungs, which is most adapted structure for the gas exchange. We know lungs are the most adapted gas exchange surfaces out of all the gas exchange surfaces. It is in the highest end. Skin has a large surface area to volume ratio because the organism is very small, and the skin is permeable to oxygen and moist to allow gas exchange in an efficient way. In the heart of an amphibian, the frog, as shown, the oxygenated blood and non-oxygenated blood is collected separately in two atria to avoid mixing. But in the ventricle, a slight mixing happens, but it should not be a very big problem because of the small size. It's a frog, so it is having very much minimal metabolic needs, so we can assume that it is enough for the frog.